My best friend introduced me to IOPE, which is a brand from Amore Pacific, and their cushion has never failed me. I love everything about it, and I'll get into a detailed review about IOPE. But I also found some new cushion players that have been doing really well, so I wanted to incorporate Moonshot as well as Huxley and see how they compare to the traditional or one of the original cushions out there in the Korean market. So stay tuned for my battle of the cushions. When I think about cushions, I want to evaluate on some key areas. The first is the texture. The second is the finish and the longevity over the period of the day. The third is a medical mask. So does it hold up the test of rubbing off on a mask? I don't like to take off my medical mask and see majority of my foundation or my makeup on the mask. So this is a really key factor for me. So for each test, I am going to start off with the bare minimum amount of skincare on my face. I have used a toner mist, an ampoule, as well as a vitamin C serum and a sunblock. And as a final step, I will use the cushion. So let's start with IOPE. IOPE, this is called the Air Cushion, and it comes in a variety of colors. This is number 21, which is my color. And I purchased this locally here in one of the Toronto stores. So each of these comes with a refill as well as the main case, and the main case has a product in it as well. So this is really great value for the money. In terms of application, they're pretty much all the same in that they come with a mirror and a little puffer. I find the puffer is really hygienic because you don't actually have to get into dealing with messy blenders or brushes, so I really like the puffer. This one here is blue in color, but when I looked on the IOPE website, there is a special technology that is made specifically for these puffers, and when you dab it on once, I love that noise of opening new products. So when you dab it on the cushion once, and then I like to kind of move it around in a circle, the technology is that it perfectly is at one dab for your entire face, because it knows how to specifically measure it out so that you don't get that cakey, overdone look. So I'm gonna put this on one side of my face. Can you see the difference from this side of my face to this side of my face? And this side of my face, there is a good amount of coverage. There's a big sunspot here, but I've managed to, with one layer, just cover up most of the blemishes that are visible, at least to my eye. So clearly I see a difference between this side being a lot glowy and dewy and more uniform, and this side just being my normal self. I don't know if you can tell the enhancement, but for me it's quite evident that, and I would do 2 layers of this. So just take what I put on the side here and then do another layer, just to make sure that I'm using enough to get buildable coverage without looking cakey, and that's the key. So I pay particular attention to the corners of my nose. I'm just going to do the rest of my face with this. So I've done 2 layers of the IOPE, and I really love it. In terms of the texture, it's really lightweight and it easily absorbs into my skin. It doesn't feel sticky at all, but you can see that the finish is nice and dewy. There's a bit of a glow, but I really like that dewy, glowy look. So for me, this is perfect. And even in the summer, when I don't tan too much, I can still stick with the same color of 21, which is vanilla. And somehow I look a little bit more brighter and the next level up with my skin tone without having to do much. I didn't put on primer. I also am not going to use a finishing spray so that I can really illustrate the power of this product. Now let's take a look at the medical mask. So I'm just going to put it on. and then wait a bit. My mouth, like I'm talking. And then when I take it off, there is some product on the mask. Don't know if you can see. There's a little bit of beiginess here, especially the cheek areas, like when I smiled. But it's not too bad. So overall, there's a reason why this is a bestseller amongst Korean women. I really think that it's a comfortable way to get that polished, no makeup look. Korean women really like the dewy glass skin, and I think this is a product that provides that. It's also very compact and portable. I do like the size, the weight is not too heavy, and I also especially like that it comes with a refill. So typically when I use this every day, twice a day, once in the morning, and then another time to touch up in the afternoon to reapply the sunscreen. The sunscreen is at a SPF of 50. So even so, I still like to reapply every 2 hours or so. I find that one of these lasts me about 2 to 3 months, which is great longevity, and then you have another one to insert in after it's done. To insert and change the refill is actually quite simple. You just pop it out of the case and then stick another one in, and then they provide you with a fresh sponge afterwards too. So for me, this has always been my go-to every time I'm rushed in the morning. Like when I was on the train, I would quickly take it out and then do a touch-up in the morning, and sometimes that would be enough, especially if I have really early mornings and I don't have time to do much. Now I'll come back with the next one. So next is Moonshot. This is one that I've only heard about recently. I believe it's a new company that was started by the entertainment company YG, which is really interesting to me. And it came with this single cushion with the product, a puffer, and so I bought an additional refill just because the reviews were so great for this product. The casing is pretty similar to the other ones that we saw, but when you open it up, ta-da! The puffer is a little bit different in its shape, where it's got a bit of a pointy tip on the edge. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Like, how much of a difference can that make? But it actually does when you're doing the nose corners. So let me get into this one. Pop open the top, and then you see a little sponge with the product. This one is color 201, which for me I thought would be the closest to my natural color. There's one shade lighter and one shade darker. One issue with the Korean cushions is that the color options are a little bit limited, so we kind of have to work with what we are given. For me, 201 was a pretty good match, and it's the summertime right now because I don't really tan that much. This is more of a natural neutral color. So let me get into the application. See, it's pretty juicy, even though I took a dab and I kind of tried to allocate some of it off of the puffer. So immediately I feel a cooling sensation from this product, and that's what a lot of the reviewers were saying, that this formulation is meant for those who live in hot, sticky climates. If it's humid, then this is probably the formulation that you would really, really appreciate, because they made an effort to make sure that it is really cooling. It does feel nice and refreshing on the skin at first dab. The coverage is very good. The texture, going back to the texture, it's lightweight, and I'm finding it to absorb really well. See, even though it was pretty serum-like in its texture, it's turning out to be a nice semi-matte finish. So here's my sengart. So seng means raw, barefaced, and this is the side with the Moonshot cushion. I'm making this video. I've worn this a couple of times, and each time I was pretty impressed. I was in climates where it was hot and humid, and then on days where it cooled down a bit, it's still really effective because I think I naturally have warm body temperature, so it rises to my face. But after putting this on, as you can see, very, very nice. Like, I typically like the dewy look, but I've grown to really like this Moonshot cushion as well. The level of coverage is just good enough to cover my sunspots, and that's really what I like. With this cushion, it does look like you are wearing some sort of makeup, but I don't think it looks overly cakey or heavy. The little tipped part is good for around the eye area, so it helps hide some of the dark circles that I sometimes get. For me, this is a really good product. It covers up some of the blemishes from the maskne without me having to use concealer. I just think that for convenience and for those who are looking for a one go, this is definitely it. It makes the face look a little bit more uniform and polished, and it did hold up through the 8 hours of the day. And now for the mask test. So I'm gonna place the mask on my face, as I did with the others. Talk and smile a bit, right? Now let's take a look. So that's pretty impressive. Usually around the mouth line would be where I see a lot of product, and then the nose area, and it's really, really clean. So even without a finishing or setting powder, this is so impressive for me. It really is so easy to apply this and just run out the door, or even just carry it with you as you're running out the door, and then apply it whenever you have a moment. So this is a product that was really impressive. It actually competed well against my all-time favorite. In terms of just comparing the two, I think both of them are very, very comfortable and lightweight. It depends on what type of finish you want. The more dewy, glowy finish would be this IOPE, or if you want a semi-matte that doesn't look too glowy like you just came out of the sauna. Just kidding, this doesn't make you look like you came out of the sauna. It's not that bad, but it really helps control the oils in your face when it's a hot and humid day. So it depends on the weather conditions as well as the look that you want to go for, but both of those are really high up there on my list. So I'm back with my Singard again, so nothing else on, no primer, just the basic skincare. The last new formulation that I wanted to introduce is the Huxley cushion, and this is called The Secret of Sahara Cover Cushion Own Attitude. This was a recommendation that was made to me because I was wondering, what can I wear under the medical mask that won't rub off and still feel really comfortable? When I looked into Huxley, I really admired the creativity of the ingredients that they used. A lot of them were plant-based. For example, there was a cactus pear extract that was helping towards the hydration of the skin. There was also Centella asiatica, which we all know is an ingredient that helps control the oils and making sure that if you are acne prone, that it doesn't irritate the skin, so it's meant for sensitive skin. There's also cactus seed oil, again for the hydration of the skin. And I really focus on hydration, so I was curious to try this out. The first thing I noticed was the elegance of the packaging. I found that the design and the color scheme was different from all the other cushions that I have tried so far on the market. And that may not matter, but I especially like the sayings and their quotes of great things never come from comfort zones. So that's something that when I wake up in the morning and I read that, it reminds me of my own personal positive affirmations to start out the day. So when you take a look at, and I didn't even take off the sticker because I just liked that saying so much. Anyway, when you take a look at the actual product, it's a juicy sponge that's pretty saturated. And when I tried this, I was pleasantly surprised. Initially, I thought that the puff could have been improved upon. It's a little bit stiff. The product does come out a lot more generously than all the other ones. So I actually have to make sure that I take special care in distribution of the product. So here. Amount of the product has ended up on my lips. The coverage is really high, but it's not sticky, nor does it feel too heavy. It's very good in the way that it balances out the properties of a foundation with a bit of a serum. So that's the beauty of a cushion, is to really find that right balance, I think, in my opinion. So here I'm pounding in or pressing in the first layer of the product. Blemishes are covered, and I actually don't need to use a concealer to cover the maskne here at the bottom of my chin or the major stubborn sunspot. So I'm feeling really satisfied with the combination of the lightweight texture and the high coverage that this Huxley provides. And as I was wearing it throughout the day, I found that it's set a lot nicer onto the skin. So right now it may look like there's a little bit of a white cast, and it definitely looks like I am wearing some form of makeup. But throughout the day, I found that it set really nicely. It absorbed well into the skin, and I didn't really need to reapply. One thing to note for this is that it comes with a nice carrying pouch, and I like little details like this. I appreciate the fact that Korean companies think of these things. I like the fact that it comes with plant extracts that help to condition the skin, so it's a form of skincare, not just makeup. Based on the cushion, I'm willing to try some of their other products because they seem to pay really close attention to using ingredients that benefit the skin. Now let's do the mask test. So this one is a brand new mask, and I'm going to put it on my face, move around a bit, smile, the cheeks, and then when I take it off, pretty good. I'm liking the fact that I'm not seeing that much makeup, actually, if any at all. I think that this is pretty good for having just put on the product, that if only this much comes off, which is barely noticeable at all, I'm very happy with that. So Huxley, thanks for bringing this to the market. So until next time, I will continue on my search for a cushion, trying different formulations, and when I do find one, I'll happily and really excitedly come back to the Meme 40 community to tell you all about it. So thanks for tuning in, and take care.